an admirer of our son.
Something is coming in episode 9, and it doesn't feel like just another turning point, it feels like a warning. Every character is standing on the edge of something they cannot undo, and one decision in this episode could break families apart forever, while pushing others into a war they are not ready for. Episode 9, titled Pharos, feels like a signal in the dark, like a distant light trying to guide people who are already lost. And in this episode, nobody is truly safe from what is about to unfold. The tension from episode 8 doesn't settle down. Instead, it grows heavier, like a storm that refuses to break, but keeps building pressure in the sky. William is still caught between two worlds. One part of him is trying to understand Jamie, to accept the truth of everything he has learned, and to rebuild something that was broken long ago. But another part of him is still burning with confusion, anger, and questions he never got answers to. Even after the emotional moment they shared, peace does not come easily. It never does in a family built on secrets. And now, with the outside world collapsing into political chaos and the threat of war growing stronger, William is forced into decisions that will shape who he becomes from this moment onward. Jamie, on the other hand, is not thinking about comfort or forgiveness. He is thinking about survival. There is a quiet pressure building around him, something he can feel but cannot fully see yet. The world around him is changing fast, and every alliance he has built feels fragile. Even when things seem calm on the surface, Jamie knows that calm never lasts in his life for long. There is always another storm waiting. Meanwhile, Claire is not standing still. She cannot afford to. Her mind is focused on something deeper than politics or war. She is searching for meaning in the cracks of reality itself, trying to understand signs that others would ignore. The idea of time, of connection, of loss, all of it is pulling her into a direction where logic and emotion start to blur. And in episode 9, that search feels even more dangerous. Because the more she looks for answers, the more she risks finding something she may not be ready to face. Lord John's situation adds another layer of tension. After everything that has already happened to him, he is now trapped in a space where survival depends on forces beyond his control. His name, his position, even his life itself feels like it is being pulled between people with different agendas. And the danger around him is not just physical anymore, it is emotional and political at the same time. Every move made around him pushes others closer to a breaking point. And then there is Fanny, whose connection to the mysterious gemstone continues to grow more unsettling. What started as a strange moment is now becoming something harder to ignore. The sound, the reaction, the feeling that something unseen is calling out, it all suggests that she may be standing at the beginning of something far bigger than she understands. Whether it is a portal, a memory, or something else entirely, episode 9 begins to treat it as more than coincidence. By the end of this part of the story, everything feels connected but unstable. William's inner conflict, Jamie's responsibility, Claire's search, Lord John's danger, and Fanny's mystery are all moving like separate threads, but they're slowly tightening into the same knot. And Pharos doesn't feel like an answer. It feels like a signal before everything changes. As episode 9 continues, the pressure between characters starts to turn into action, and not the kind that can be reversed easily. Every decision now carries weight, and every conversation feels like it is hiding something unsaid underneath the words. William's journey in this episode begins to shift from reflection into urgency. Even after the emotional clarity he started to find with Jamie, there is still something unsettled inside him. He is no longer the same person who arrived at the ridge with confusion alone. Now, he carries knowledge that changes how he sees everyone around him, including himself. But understanding the truth is not the same as accepting it completely. And this is where William struggles the most. He is caught between loyalty, identity, and a growing fear that the ground beneath his life is not as solid as he once believed. Jamie also feels the shift, but in a different way. He is more aware than ever that peace is temporary. The world around him is tightening like a noose made of politics, war, and personal enemies who never forget. Even when he tries to focus on family or rebuilding trust, something always pulls him back into danger. In episode 9, that danger feels closer than before, as if it is no longer waiting on the horizon but already inside the room with him. Jamie does not panic, but he does prepare. And that preparation alone tells us everything about how serious things are becoming. Claire's path becomes even more intense in this episode. Her search for answers is no longer just emotional, it is almost instinctive. She is drawn toward patterns that others would dismiss as coincidence. The idea that something beyond normal understanding might be influencing events around her becomes harder for her to ignore. And while others are focused on war and survival, Claire is focused on something even more unpredictable, the possibility that reality itself is not as fixed as it seems. Her determination places her in a dangerous position because the deeper she goes into this search, the less control she is over what she might uncover. There is a quiet fear building around her storyline, not because she is weak, but because she is willing to look where others would stop. And that kind of curiosity often comes with consequences in a world like this. Lord John's storyline in this section becomes darker. The situation surrounding him escalates, and what once felt like political tension now feels personal and immediate. He is no longer just a figure caught in conflict, he is becoming the center of it. The people around him are no longer simply negotiating or planning. They are reacting. And reactions in this world are rarely gentle. At the same time, the mystery surrounding Fanny deepens. The gemstone is no longer just an object. It is becoming a trigger for something unknown. The reaction it causes suggests that it is linked to forces or places that are not fully understood yet. Whether it is connected to time, memory, or something entirely different, Episode 9 begins to treat it like a key that could open something far bigger than anyone expects. By the end of this section, everything starts to feel like it is converging. William's inner conflict, Jamie's growing awareness of danger, Claire's dangerous search for truth, Lord John's escalating situation, and Fanny's mysterious connection all begin to move closer together. Not in resolution, but in tension. And Pharos starts to feel less like a title and more like a warning light in the dark, showing that something is approaching, and it is already too late to stop it from coming closer. By the final stretch of Episode 9, everything that has been building begins to sharpen into something unavoidable. The story stops feeling like separate struggles and starts feeling like one large chain reaction, where every character's move triggers something bigger than they intended. William is now standing at a point where hesitation is no longer an option. Whatever doubts he still carries cannot stay unresolved for long, because the world around him is not waiting. There is a growing sense that he will soon be forced into a choice that defines not just his relationship with Jamie, but also his place in the conflict that is slowly taking shape. Even if he wants clarity, clarity does not come gently in this world. It arrives through pressure, loss, and consequences. Jamie, too, feels this tightening reality. He is no stranger to war, but this time it feels different. It is not just about enemies or survival. It is about protecting what little remains of stability in his life. There is an unspoken understanding that the peace between him and William is fragile, and fragile things do not survive long in times like these. At the same time, Jamie is also aware that ignoring danger is not an option anymore. Something is moving closer, and whether he is ready or not, he will have to face it head-on. Claire's storyline reaches a point where her search becomes more intense and unpredictable. What started as observation has now become involvement. She is no longer just looking at signs, she is actively stepping toward them. And that shift is dangerous because the deeper she goes, the less control she has over what she might awaken or disrupt. Her determination to protect the people she loves is pushing her into territory where logic and safety may no longer apply. There is a growing feeling that Claire is approaching something that could change everything she understands about loss, time, and possibility itself. Lord John's situation reaches a critical edge in this episode. The danger around him is no longer hidden or slow-moving. It is direct, and it is closing in. The political tension that once surrounded him now feels personal, almost targeted. And in moments like these, survival depends not on rank or intelligence alone, but on timing, trust, and unexpected intervention. His fate becomes one of the central pressures of the episode, because what happens to him could shift the emotional balance between the main characters. Fanny's mystery also begins to feel more significant than ever before. The gemstone is no longer just a strange detail. It is becoming a symbol of something larger and unknown. The reactions it causes suggest that it is linked to forces that exist beyond normal understanding. And in episode 9, there is a growing possibility that this connection will begin to open doors that were never meant to be opened so soon. Whether this leads to discovery or disaster is still unclear, but the direction is already changing. As episode 9 moves toward its end, the emotional weight of the story becomes undeniable. William, Jamie, Claire, Lord John, and Fanny are all moving through separate paths, but those paths are no longer distant from each other. They are converging, slowly but surely, into the same storm. And Pharos begins to feel exactly like its name suggests, a light in darkness, not offering comfort, but warning that something is already here, and whatever comes next will not leave anything unchanged.